In this video, we're gonna model, texture, and animate a product from scratch. And let's get started after this quick shout out. You know what's the best way to get started with product animation? YouTube tutorials. But it will only teach you the basic knowledge, and after that you can experiment yourself, but the problem is you'll probably end up wasting months and not getting anywhere. And that's where my course comes in with 3 independent project-based chapters and over 3 hours of premium content. You'll go from a beginner to animating like a pro. Stop wasting time. Grab the course now and jumpstart your path to success. So let's go ahead and import our reference images. I'll share these in the description. So you go to image references. First of all, I need this one, so I'm gonna hit Alt R, get a plane over there, Control 3 to give it a subdivision surface modifier. I'm gonna hit Tab and start scaling this. Give it some loop cuts and just match the shape of the soul. Now let's import the next reference image. So I'm gonna select this one, move to a trash collection, and I'm gonna hide that. So let's name that to soul. Go to the y-axis over there, Shift A, add an image reference and import that one. Now let's grab that along the y-axis over there, and I'm gonna hit RZ 180 degrees. Just align that, and let's go to the wireframe view. First of all, we're gonna align this plane to the bottom of the soul. Make sure you're in the extra mode so that you can move the other vertices. Now let's select everything and E to extrude it up there. Now make sure you're in the extra mode and just move these vertices like that. Now hit Ctrl R to give it a loop cut right there. Ctrl R again over here. So we're kind of getting the shape of that. I'm gonna go to the object mode and scale it up a little bit. Just grab it down and that's it. Right click and shade smooth. Go to edit mode and right here, select these top faces, hit I to inset them. Once you do that, then you just hit E to extrude it down, and then E again to extrude it up. And that's it. It looks pretty good. So I'm gonna bring it up a little bit more, just like that. Maybe Alt S to scale it up a little bit too. That should be fine. Now the trick here is just select these two faces, hit I to inset them, and then hit Alt S to bring it down. So you get this kind of curvature here. I'm gonna scale it down too, and that's looking good. It's like these two faces, I to inset them, and just bring them down right there. We're gonna try and fix these things now. Just grab this over here, select this, bring it up, select this one, bring it down a little bit, bring this up a little bit, rotate it, I think. Now for these things, I remeshed my geometry first with the quad remesher, and after that I just extruded them down, added subdivision, and that was it. Select these bottom faces, hit Ctrl+ once, so we select this edge over there too, and Y to split that, and P to separate by selection. Now I'm gonna select this right there. I'll provide a link to the quad remesher in the description. You can see over here. Just install the add-on and activate it. Now the quad count is gonna be 300, and the adaptive size is gonna be 0 because I don't want any quads to be smaller than the other ones. And keep in mind that this requires internet connection too, so click remesh it, and there we go. So if I go to the edit mode now, I have a very good geometry to just extrude down. Now I can make these quads a little bit bigger and then do that. So let me go ahead and undo that and set the quad count to 250 and remesh it again. Now if I go to the edit mode, this is way bigger. So go to the face selection mode, I to inset them, and then I again to insert individuals, and then GZ to bring it down. Give it a bevel modifier first, bring that down a little bit, give it 2 segments, I guess. Select the top mesh and these edges right there, and double G to bring it up, just like that. Now we're gonna join these two together, but I think I'm gonna set the bevel segments to 1 apply the bevel, then select this one. I'm going to set the subdivision levels to 2 and apply the subdivision surface. Now select this one, then this one, and hit Ctrl J to join them. Now hit Tab. As you can see, these edges are already selected, so now I'm going to select these as well, and right click, Loop Tools and Bridge. And if you can't find this Loop Tools add-on, you're going to go to the Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and find Loop Tools. Right there, just turn it on. Now hit Ctrl 1 to give it a subdivision surface. You can make it 2 as well, and that's a lot smoother. So that was the sole, and you can give it some creases as well. So just hit Alt S here and bring that down. That's the crease. Then you can play with it and sculpt these details as you want them to be. And that was the sole. Now we're gonna make these straps. So right here, Shift A to add in a plane, F2 to name it to straps, hit Tab, RX90. Scale it down, and we're gonna match this shape now. Just select this edge, E to extrude, then extrude again. Select everything, Shift D, Y, D, Y axis, R, Z axis. Now select this one and then this one, and scale Y0, and M to merge it by distance. Now hit Ctrl 3 to give it subdivisions, and I'm gonna hit Alt Z, select these two vertices, M to merge by at center. Select everything, Shift N to recalculate the normal so that it's smooth. And just play around with these edges till it looks smoother. Now you're gonna add in a solidify modifier, the usual stuff, bring it back, and a subdivision again. Right click, shade smooth. Now hit Tab on this, let's select everything in edit mode and duplicate it right there. I'm gonna rotate it and scale Z axis. Just bring it down and put it right here. Select these R Z axis and just place them there. I'm gonna move these vertices around till it looks natural. Now let's get to shading this thing. So I'm gonna select these straps, Ctrl A, Visual Geometry to mesh. Select this, Ctrl A, Visual Geometry to mesh. So all the modifiers are applied now. This thing is coming out a little bit, so I'm gonna go to sculpt mode, turn up the brush size, and hit G to get the grab mode, and grab that inside there. Everything else seems fine. I'm gonna go to the shading tab right here, and go to the view. I'm gonna set the focal length to 85 so that I can see it better. So create a new material on the sole first. So first of all, let's get a texture coordinates node and go to the material preview mode. So you can see this is how our texture coordinates generated thing looks like. Now I'm gonna get a mix node, mix color. And after the generated, you can get something like color ramp, I don't know. And just set your colors to something that you want. So I'm gonna set this to that, these type of orange colors. And the color B is gonna be totally white. Now let's get in a Voronoi texture to get the bump and everything, right? So hit Ctrl T to get these nodes. This will only work if you have Node Wrangler add-on enabled. So connect the object to the vector, set this to 40 maybe, get a math node here, and also get a color ramp, set this mode to ease, get another handle and set this to white, bring the black in the middle, and just set them up like that for now. We're gonna customize them later. So connect the value to the factor and get a bump node, and connect the color to the height, normal to the normal right there. So the strength is going to be 0.4 and the distance is gonna be 0.02. So now let's bring up the scale, and I'm gonna duplicate this color ramp, remove this handle, and connect this color to the factor, and connect the result to the base color, and also connect your math node to the factor there too. This math node is going to control our texture. Now I want to smudge this texture a little bit, so we're going to do that with a noise. Get a mix color, get a noise texture here, connect the color to the B. I'm going to set the detail to 0 and set the scale to 1, and bring up the distortion a little bit. So there we go. That's kind of the effect I'm looking for. I want the bump to be kind of visible. I'm gonna set the scale to 0.7, bring up the distortion to 3, bring that up a little bit, and bring this mix value down to 0.5. This looks pretty good. Now you want another layer of bump, so just duplicate that, and now we can just get a Voronoi texture here as well. Get this vector connected to the vector right there, connect the distance to the height, and I'm gonna bring up the scale to something minor right there. Invert that and bring up the scale. I'm gonna set the distance to 0.001 and bring down the strength. So it's very subtle. Look at that. Now for this area, I want another texture right there. So to separate that, I'm gonna go to the face select mode and select this face loop right there. Hide it. Now select this and hit L. Go to properties and create a new material. Assign that and click new. Go to the shading again. For this one, I want some kind of waves material. So get a wave texture. Control T and set this from generated to object. Let's preview that. Set this to Y axis. Bring up the scale. Get a bump node. Connect the normal to the normal right there and preview that. Strength is going to be 0.4 and bring down the distance to 0.01. And make sure the noise color is connected to the height, not the normal. Let's give it a little bit of dimmer color here and that's good to go. Also, let's select this straps, give it a new material. This is going to be the straps material. Save your file and I'm going to set the transmission to 1. Give it a little bit of transmission roughness. In the roughness, I'm going to get a magic texture. I don't know if that'll work, but let's try. Connect the UV to the vector, go to the UV editing, select everything, U and Smart UV project. Hit OK, and that's it. Now connect the color to the roughness. Let's bring up the scale. This kind of seems to be working. Now you can also just give it a Voronoi texture instead of a magic texture. Both works. Get a bump and get a little bit of bump going on this. Make sure it's not too much, so let's set the strength to 0.2 and bring the distance down to 0.01 and that'll work. That's basically the model and let's do a quick animation. So for that, just select this and then that, Control P and keep transform so that we can parent them and animate them together. Then go to properties and modifiers. Get a timeline in here. I made my viewport super big so that you can see everything. So let's get in a plane, Shift S cursor to world origin and Shift S selection to cursor. So that it's all in the middle now and scale it up. Hit tab, hit 2, E Z axis and get that kind of background going on. I'm gonna give it a bevel modifier and bring it up a little bit. Give it some segments, right click shade smooth apply. Hit tab 2. Gray Y axis. That's it. For the lighting, first I have this single light going through the object and it kind of reveals the thing and the colors. And then we have like a full lighting going on. Get in a area light, bring it up, scale Y axis and bring it down just like that. And then scale X axis and bring it up. R Z axis to give it some tilt. Go to the light settings. The power is going to be 400 or 500. Make sure you set your render engine to cycles, GPU compute. And now the light will have this spread option and make this something like 7 or 8. Let's see. I'm gonna set the environment strength to 0 because we don't need any lighting from that. Now you can see this cool effect here. This is very nice and it looks awesome. The detail on the shoe is looking amazing. It wasn't looking good in Eevee in the shading tab, but now if you look at that, this is very photorealistic. Now you can get any kind of shots from this, but I'm gonna show you how to do some simple animations. We're gonna move this light just like that. First of all, let's get a camera. Shift A, camera, grab Y axis, bring it up a little bit, I use square resolution, so 1080 by 1080 looks good. Render region, set that to 30 FPS. RGB, 5% compression, and set your output as well. D and double Z to move forward a little bit. So on frame 1, I'm going to insert location and rotation. I'm going to set the end frame to 150. And now on frame 20, I'm going to zoom it in, grab double Z, insert location and rotation. On frame 15, I'm going to insert those again. Select these two keyframes, bring them back, and select the last one, bring it over here to 80. Move forward a little bit more, and insert them. So it's kind of starting fast and then getting slow. It's a nice motion. On 100, we're just going to duplicate that and see if that works or not. Okay, maybe not. Just bring it up a little bit more and insert them. Let's go to the viewport here. Now I want the light animated, so select that from the Z-axis. On frame 0, bring it over here out of the scene. Insert location and rotation, and on frame 80, bring it right there. So it's barely moving out of the shoe frame right there. This is good. Insert location and rotation. So I want it to come over here fast and then get slow when it's on top of the shoe. So over here, you can see, over here I'm going to insert location and rotation. Select this keyframe and move it back here to frame 20. And that's going to be slowing right there. Good. Maybe select this one and T hit linear. Great. Now I don't want this to be stopping, so maybe we can just rotate it. So on 150, hit RZ, and you can rotate it like that and insert location and rotation. And that's it. This is how the render is going to look like. It looks very cinematic. I like it. Especially the texture is looking very nice. Let's go to properties. I'm going to set it to medium high contrast. What else do we have here? Turn on motion blur, set the shutter to 0.25. Set this diffuse samples to 5 and maybe set the noise threshold to 0.1. See if that makes the render faster. Oh yeah, I think it's better if I turn off the noise threshold. Okay, double the time, but still not seeing any difference. We're gonna turn that on and leave it like that. If your render looks bad, you can bring down the value slowly and yeah, keep it at what works for you. So I need the lights as well, the other lights right there, because we want to lit up the whole scene. So let's add in an area light. Position it right there. Go to rendered view, set the power to 300. There we go. Duplicate it to the side, RX, RY axis. Move it right here and bring down the spread a little bit. Duplicate it over here on the X axis and RZ axis. There we go. That's some nice lighting here now. You can bring up the power to 500 on this and 450 on this as well. Select this one, make it 500. Now that looks brighter and better. I'm going to select this one, grab Y-axis and rotate it a little bit so I can light up this area a little bit more. And there we go. That's looking nice. Make sure you set the glass color to something bright right here. And now it looks much better. Go to the compositing, of course, turn it on, and right here we're gonna do some color grading, get a color balance node. Now I don't know about these things, but I'm just gonna give you what works fine for me. So bring this down a little bit so that you can make the black values darker, make the subject pop a little bit. Bring this down. Don't overdo this, okay? So make this to something bluish so it looks cooler. And bring this up so you can bring the white values up a little bit. turn on the real-time compositor. So make this camera. There we go. You can see the difference right there. Disabled and enabled. Now, quick animation here. This goes up and twists like that. So I'm gonna select that and this one, Ctrl J to join them. We're gonna use a simple deform modifier to bend that. And this is gonna be along the y-axis, I think. Set the angle to 0 for now. Now in frame 75, insert a location and rotation keyframe on the sole right there. Maybe we can bring up the origin to the middle a little bit. So hit N and right here in the tool transform, turn on the origins only. So if I bring this up, the origin is on the middle now, and turn it off. Now make sure you delete this keyframe right away, and now insert location and rotation. And on frame 100, bring it up, just like that, and our x-axis. Just rotate it all the way, just like that, and insert location and rotation again. Now in here, on frame 90, I'm going to insert a location keyframe and bring back this location over there to the 80 frame so that it goes up faster but rotates on the same speed that we did right there. Now on frame 95, I'm going to insert location and rotation and select the 100 keyframe right there and bring it back to 120. We're going to bring up the camera as well, but first let's make this animation. So as it twists like that, I want it to bend on the y-axis. So right there on frame 84, insert this keyframe. And on frame 90, bring this up to 90. I think the axis was wrong, so the x-axis works now. Let's make this 90 degrees and insert the keyframe. Now on frame 95, bring this back to 0 and insert it again. Let's see if that works or not. Maybe we want to bring back the bending keyframes. So select these two and bring them back. That looks better. Now I want to parent the camera only to the Z location of the shoe, so that when it goes up there, the camera is going up with it. So let's add in a child of constraint. And I'm going to turn off everything and turn on the Z location. Go back to frame 60, select your shoe model with it, and play. There we go, that's better. Now as it goes up just like that, I want the lighting to change from dark to light. First of all, Shift A, empty, and get a cube. Bring the size up. Select these lights, these three lights, and then select the cube, Control P, and keep transform. Select the cube right there and bring it down. I'm going to insert location and rotation. Now on frame 88 or something, bring this up to its place and insert location and rotation. So let's see how this looks like now. First of all, everything is dark, and then this happens. And then it goes up and everything is lit up. It looks awesome. And maybe you want to tilt this light a little bit. Maybe we can just bring these vertices back so that the interaction is not looking bad. Scale XX, bring it up. Okay, X rotation works from here. Right, that is good. So that, my friends, is the animation, and this is how you create simple product shots. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.